I think that is it, but hang on a second. Probably have to click on here. I think we might be live.
Might be live.
I think we're live, yeah.
Or we may be dead. We'll see.
To be determined. Yes, here we go. Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here, joined by my good buddy Isaac. We are going to hang out and talk Splinterlands. Jimbo is possibly going to join us, TBD. I'm logging in early today, and for my members, guys, I'm sorry, I can't do my usual time slot tonight. Summer is just different, and we got the kids all day and putting them to bed, and so I feel like there's no time for my wife, so I wanted to log in early today, and maybe I'll rearrange time so this will be my member slot. But we haven't done a live for the public in forever. I don't know if anyone's going to show up, but we're going to try and have some fun, and me and Isaac are going to talk Splinterlands. And if you guys are out there listening, love to see comments, questions, whatever you're curious about. Let's talk about it. Isaac, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Making the new season climb back to gold.
Awesome.
It's always a fun couple days.
What rank are you in right now? Silver 2? Silver 1?
I think, yeah, I just crossed into maybe silver 1.
Nice.
But yeah.
Nice.
That reset's always fun.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm, where am I at? Diamond 3. And in my secondary account, I kind of have two accounts, really. I mean, I have lots of accounts, but I have two accounts that are like mine to play with and that I tend to. And one's kind of a gold. Like, look at this deck. This is my 1258 Scholar 1 account, and this is what I call my main alt account. It's got 450,000 power. It's a pretty, I would consider it a pretty strong deck. Like, just look at the summoners. I have legendary level 2. I have, what else? What are some of the high ones I got here? 4, 4, 5, 4, 7. So I have a level 7 blue, and I have a level 4, or like a level these are pretty decent summoners, I would say. Like, not Verislacia is kind of whatever, like pretty low on the totem pole, but I'm saying like level wise. And yet with 500, almost 500,000 power, like last season it was stuck in gold. Now I was letting my bot run it because I was traveling last summer, but or last week. But I mean, I think if I was playing it, I suspect I'd be in at least lower diamond.
Yeah. I mean, are you playing it in wild or in modern?
They're both in wild.
Both in wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made the switch last season from modern to wild.
Oh yeah.
From wild to modern, I'm sorry, the other way.
Yep.
Just to see. Which is one thing I'm not super thrilled about. I'd like to see some improvement on that option. I feel like we have two game modes, but the system essentially forces you to pick one, right? Because your ECR is going to go down if you're playing 2, and so if you have to pick one, and then the other one's going to, over a couple seasons, drop to bronze. And then if you want to switch back, that journey from bronze to back to diamond or something, for anybody other than a bot or a full-time player, is just a grind.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
There's with the two different leagues now, I would say that there's like a whole lot of extra, potentially a whole lot of extra grinding that is possible. One, you can have more accounts running different things. It creates a whole new interest at lower collection power, because you can play in that modern. You can get those modern cards with that lower collection power and make those higher thresholds. So there's like maybe a monetary incentive, because those rewards are significant, but the startup cost is like less significant than it used to be. And then, so it's like, I think there's an incentive to kind of play both if you can. And sometimes there's the option to literally play both with one and kind of juggle it. But I don't know. I think so far anyways, I've just been sticking to wild. I did see a tweet the other day talking about DEC payouts on modern in the first few hours of the season were like 150 DEC per win, which that's wild. Like, and are you seeing, like, I haven't been paying attention, to be honest, because I've got so many things going on. Are you finding that there's significant DEC payouts at the beginnings of the rank reward seasons right now?
I was getting about, like, in silver, I was getting 8 or 9 DEC a win, which...
How much? Say that again.
Silver,
how many?
8 or 9 per win on the first day.
Okay.
In silver. So that's not a horrible payout in silver. So it was definitely a bit higher the first day. So I don't know. It's interesting to see how those are going to even out, and what the bots will do. That's going to be something I'm watching. And that's one of the things I was trying to call out, and I don't know if people have caught on to it yet, right? But the bots have the ability to switch leagues in 3 days, essentially, right? A bot can say, I'm playing in Diamond, right, in Wild. And then they can realize that the Diamond Modern rewards are 2x better or something, right? And they can say, well, I want to be playing in that. And even if their account is in Bronze, they can run their ECR all the way down to 0 and play. I think the fastest bot I've seen can play about 2,400 games in a day.
Wow.
Right? They can just spam it. And yeah, their ECR is 0. But then they can just wait 5 days or 2 days or whatever, 3 or 4 days, and get their ECR back up so they're getting rewards.
Yeah.
And now they've switched leagues. And I don't care how full-time you're playing the game, you're not going to be able to switch leagues as fast as a bot. And because of that, you're forced to pick a league.
Yeah.
And so that is one small advantage the bots have right now that I think could be corrected.
Yeah.
By giving players the option to play without their ECR on. So you could actually, if you wanted to, over time, level up your secondary rank. Or maybe just if your rank in the other league is higher, you can keep playing without that ECR penalty of 5 or whatever. I don't know. I feel like there's something they can do there. I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know how big the pain point is for most players. Most people might be more, I'm a modern player, I'm a wild player, but I don't know.
I see what you're saying, definitely. And it's interesting because I think that's kind of, I think they've done a number of things to curtail the sort of distinct advantages that exist for bots. And even most recently, once you get down to, maybe not everybody knows, but once you play your account below 50% ECR, you no longer lose 1% of your remaining ECR per battle. You actually lose 5% per battle. And so that dramatically ramps up your ECR burn rate from like the 50% threshold all the way to 0. And that should in a sense, like, what's the, like, gatekeep or at least heavily limit the effectiveness of one of the angles of bots. Like Isaac was just saying, they can play some of them can play 2,400 matches in a single day, and if they don't even care about ECR, they can do that automated win fashion and, like, through brute force climb into Diamond. Because if you play 2,400 battles and you win, 50% of them or 45% of them or whatever, it's like, it's still going to get you up there, because that's just, like, actually playing more games will allow you to climb faster. But that ECR is the chain holding you back. But they don't really care because they burn that ECR to the ground, and then it'll be 4 days later, it'll be fully recharged, or even 3 days later, it's going to be at 75%. And that's enough. Even, 60% is enough to start slowly grinding and slowly accumulating at that new level. So, I see that as a problem, and I'm not sure how big of a problem, because frankly, I think some of the other implications or limitations that have been placed on bots lately, ghost card nerfs and that 5% ECR burn rate, and there's one more that I'm skipping right now. Even how they changed the loot chests, that you need to own the card. Oh, and I said ghost card nerfs. So a few different things though. And it strikes me that they're going to keep iterating, and maybe they will try something like you were just suggesting, Isaac. We'll see, I guess. But I don't see this issue that we just described as one that is absolutely game breaking. It's more like, dang, I wish I could do that too. And here's one thing I'll throw out there, and I want to send some shout outs to the crowd here before we go too much further. But one idea, I heard somebody throw it in a comment, like, bots are just here. What if Splinterlands just literally said like auto battle? Like you could have a button that like auto battled. I don't see why they absolutely could, and it would essentially be like it'd be their bot that you can just turn on anytime you want. And I don't think they would love that idea because they don't want to make this like that sort of experience. But here's the thing. It is that sort of experience. Like bots are here, and I don't know. I almost feel as though stuff like this end up being a hurdle to those who can't figure out the technology, in this case bots, but in other cases, if you couldn't figure out, for instance, like how to use Hive engine because it's on the Hive blockchain, you don't really know about SPS, or Hive and Hive's back dollars, and how does the market work. These are like little hurdles that prevent normal gamers who might not understand blockchain or, like, for instance, programming to like get the full reward opportunity. And I don't know if that hurdle, I don't want to make this a bot game. I really don't. And it kind of sounds like I want that, but I don't. I'm just saying, if that's already here, I don't know, maybe it makes sense to just say, look, you could have that option. You just turn it on. Because if they can do 2,400 battles, man, in a day, I haven't heard of that. The one I use doesn't have that function. We can only do 4 battles per hour at the most, and that's it. So from the programming point forward, like I wouldn't have that option. And so... Yeah. I definitely want to hear your thoughts on that, Isaac, but just let me say some shout outs here to some Yuki's here. Hey buddy, good to see you, man. Games World, NFT Gaming, Zach, Alex, Mario. I haven't talked to you in a long time, my dude. I'm glad you're here. Archie's here. Archie Labrador. I wonder if you're actually in Labrador, if that's your last name. And Dragon, of course. Nice. I'm in Bali. Nice, man. Eli, good to see you, buddy. Isaac, is that you, Isaac?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
So, I think bots are here to stay. And like we were talking about earlier, that's my career. I develop bots for major companies that do business tasks on a daily basis. And the bot technology is just getting so advanced out there that, if you've played any game that involves an economy, even if it's not a real economy, like World of Warcraft, MMOs, that, there's people botting those games, which are much more complex to bot. And they put in millions of dollars of anti-bot technology, and they still can't catch them all because the bot technology is so good. So everybody's screaming, ban the bots. I'm like, I don't think they get how good the bots are. I think you have to figure out how to beat the bots, right? The only way bots are going to decline is when players start figuring out how to beat them at their own game. Mm-hmm. And the problem you would find, my immediate programmer mindset is, if you tell me there is a generic bot, right, that anybody can use, I'm immediately going to figure out what teams that bot plays and what scenarios. And that is always going to be what my bot plays, is what beats the bot that Splinterlands runs, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to just counter Splinterlands bot, and I'm going to win 70-80% of my games at that point. For everybody that's just hitting auto battle, right? Because everybody's going to be lazy and hit auto battle. So you gotta think about what can happen. And these bots, these bots do serve a purpose in Splinterlands. They do provide a constant supply of games, so that when you hit I want to play now, no matter what league of what division you're playing in, you will get a game in about 30 seconds. Yeah. And a lot of that thanks to the fact we have so many people that are botting. Yeah. That there is people always there to play. Yeah. I used to wait 2 minutes plus to get a game, and I remember thinking to myself, like, did my this happened regularly, guys, when I used to play the game.
I would load up a battle and I would say to myself, did the server just crash and I don't even know it? Because it's literally taken 2 minutes to find a match, and maybe it just hasn't, the window hasn't refreshed and on my computer because my connectivity is broken or something, and I would refresh and then it'd be like, oh, I have a match. And it's already 2 minutes into the team selection because you didn't know. You're standing there waiting for a match to happen, and maybe it really was trying to find you an opponent, or maybe there was like a problem because it literally took 2-3 minutes, and it was super annoying. But bots, again, I don't love that bots would ever be the core of what we have here, but in some sense they are a major part. And so I like I've said in previous videos, I don't really care about like idealistic, like, hey man, like it should like I don't want any bots here because it's a game, it should be for people that, like, that's, to me, that's just a dream. Like, it's not the reality. So let's look at what the reality is, and then people say, well, like, ban the bots, but that's not realistic either. And you touched on a point, Isaac. You said something like, I would just counter the bot. Like, you got to beat the bot. Like, that's one of the things, like, they are vulnerable, and I can show, data on it. Like, I mean, last season, my main account with almost 2 million power earned 54 chests, champion chests, which is pretty good. But I mean, definitely I can do 60, 70 chests with my effort. So it's just like, the bot isn't as good, and that's a hugely expensive deck. And then this one with 500,000 or 450,000 power, it just stayed in gold. And I mean, that's like easily, you and me have talked, silver level chests or silver level decks can get you into champion, or I mean, low diamond. And so this deck is diamond possible, diamond capable, but the bot wasn't able. And it's in part because they really just try the thing that everybody tries. And this is something I've been saying or thinking lately. Isaac, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Here's the problem with bots. They look at the data of what teams have been played the most, and then they use that, the win rates associated with that, to try and choose the most likely successful team. But that data pool is corrupt because it is a sample of their own selections, which are, I would argue, intrinsically limited in sort of creativity and imagination in the first place. And so, like, for instance, if you come in with a card that, and this is notorious, like anybody who uses bots knows a lot of the older beta cards or alpha cards or some of the more rare cards, they won't even know what to do with it. They won't use your Yodins and stuff like this because the data around some of these amazing legendary monsters or summoners, there's only 44 battles. Like, the bot doesn't know how to compute the effectiveness of something like this when it'd so much rather use Kelly or Friendle. And that's what I see when I do let my bot run. Like, I have, like, look at this. This is my Infidel 12. These are all bot battles. It's using Mother Kala. It's got Quixodevious. It's got Obsidian, Kelly Friendle. I have Grandmaster Wraith on this account. It hasn't, like, not one of these matches is Grandmaster Wraith. Are you telling me that you'd rather play Tarsa than, like, I mean, come on, not once in 20 battles Grandmaster Wraith doesn't get shown, but it's because that data pool is blinding the bot from because it doesn't have the imagination to think past its own limitations, if you know what I mean. What do you think about that?
So you've hit the exact nail on the head of how to beat the bots and what the human advantage is here, right? And I've actually talked to a few people about maybe building a tool that would help players, right? So the bot is simple. It's always going to play the win rate deck. It can play with its cards at that mana cost rule set, right? It's just a pure search all the data, tell me which deck's the best, I'll play that. There is clearly no deck in this game has 100% win rate at any scenario. Mm-hmm. Even the weird combos that are like, llama and a healing guy. Like, there's ways to counter that at most levels, right? So the bot doesn't actually have a 100% win rate deck. It's just playing what it thinks is probably 50 or 60% win rate. If you are smart enough to know what the bot's about to play, you can counter it. And because it would take a large group of players playing this strategy for a long point of time to change the win rate of that to something else, you will have a huge window of just spamming these decks against these decks until you have to rethink and the bot has to rethink.
Mm-hmm.
So just understanding that basic game theory of, I know what the bots are going to play.
Yeah.
All I have to do is beat that with some strategy, and I'm going to win, and I'm going to win, and I'm going to win. You're not going to win everything, but you're going to win. The bot's playing a 55, 56% win rate, and you're giving yourself a 65, 70% win rate most of the time. You're going to be beating the bots and climbing faster.
Yes.
And
yeah, I totally agree. And it's a deeply important point, because the more we recognize, to me, what it boils down to is this, that when you're recognizing the evolution of the meta in a game like Splinterlands, you need to understand that it doesn't happen all at once. Games are certain monster cards that are amazing don't necessarily show themselves as leaders, as meta definers until weeks or months later. Why would that happen? Why would that be so? If it's obviously powerful, it should just grab and just gain traction and take over the game. No, because what happens is somebody identifies the power of a card. It's a new summoner, it's a new tank, it's a combination of certain monsters together. They recognize a certain capability and synergy that's really successful, and they do it on their own. And they maybe they're probably not like a streamer, so they're just doing it in isolation, and maybe occasionally you play them or I play them and you get beaten by it, and then you're like, wow, that really works. Like what they just did there, I see what that synergy, I've never thought that way before. I'm going to try that. And then you do it. And now 2 people are doing it. And then 4 people are doing it. And 8 people. And maybe it doesn't happen so exponentially even. Maybe it's just a slower growth rate, the slow burn, because it's occasionally the case that it's not so clear cut that you lost because their team was OP. But when we recognize that an OP build, it starts to grow in that way, and then it starts showing up in the gameplay data, and then the bots start running with it, and then it starts being the thing that you see all over the place. And that's when you have to step in, like Isaac just said, and recognize how obvious they are about picking it, and when they throw that curveball, like, be prepared for it, like, because there's always a counter to every single play. I mean, even the highest level legendaries, there's ways to beat them in the right rule set, in the right context, but it takes imagination and creativity.
Cameron asked a really good question, because I hear this question a lot, and I think it's a misunderstanding of the strategy. And how can I tell I'm going to play against a bot prior to the battle? You don't need to know you're going to play against a bot, right? If you're climbing and you're pushing, you're assuming that the players you're playing against are getting better. And you're assuming that they're trying to win too. And you know the bots are going to play the highest win rate. So what you're assuming is that the likelihood that the top strategy is going to be played by your opponent is getting higher the higher you climb.
Yep.
This is something, I wrote a little article about game theory on Peak, but I didn't get into too much details. But the truth about it is, the higher you climb, the more game theory applies, because the more you understand that your opponent is making the proper play, right? It's like in poker. If you're a good poker player and you sit down at a table with amateurs, you can get wiped out, because there's no way to tell what they're going to do. Their amateurs are they don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So you can't read them.
Yeah.
But as you climb in Splinterlands, the players are making the same good decisions. So you just need to be looking at the rule set, determining what would be the most powerful thing to play. And then you have to determine, with your collection, what you have in your cards. Do you think you're better playing that most powerful strategy? Or are you better playing a counter strategy to that most powerful strategy? And that's kind of the game you get into as you go up. The good thing is, the bots are always going to play that most powerful strategy. But if you've got every card and they're maxed out, and you think playing the best strategy here gives you the best odds, play it. But if you think, hey, I think they're going to play it and I've got a really solid counter, you play the counter. And like, yeah, it doesn't have to be a bot, but people trying to apply game theory in bronze may find out, nope, that person just spams Alric water every game. That water is available no matter what. And,
Yeah, man. That's this is a conversation that I feel like continues to grow and need revisiting, because there's always this evolution of how Splinterlands is responding, and there's always an evolution to the technology, and then the bots are getting, maybe I think they're getting smarter, and they probably always will, but the question is, like, can we innovate alongside them? And I think, I've heard somebody say, you guys have heard about how, like, famous robots, like computers, will beat the best chess players, or like AlphaGo, like a robot will beat the best AlphaGo players. It's apparently the most complicated game in the universe because of how many options of movement you could do any one.
You want to know what the funny thing about that is?
Yeah.
The AlphaGo robot. So Go is the most complicated board game in the world. It's a fun board game if you like strategy games. It literally has 361 possible opening moves, and then there's 60 responses, and then it just goes down by one every time. That's why it's so complex. The most advanced robot in the world tied the world champion, right? And because they play sets, and that was fine. But then they made the robot play the person when the person knew it was a robot they were playing.
Yeah.
And the robot lost every game.
Huh.
Once the Go player knew it was a robot.
Interesting.
It could only tie the best player when the player was treating it as a human. Like, once it knew it was following patterns and Josekis and standard moves, it found ways to exploit those.
That makes me think of what you said about the poker analogy earlier, and like, because like when you're like, I used to play a lot of poker, and I was never high level good, but I played for some significant money, and I won some significant pots, and I remember never having more trouble than sitting down at a table where, like, nobody knows what they're doing, and they're just like, they don't really care. It's like a charity event, and they're just like, I'm here for fun, and like, if I lose, I'll go have another drink. And they're pushing all in on anything. Like, I mean, ace two, they're all in, and like the tourney could be like thousands of dollars. It's like a serious match, but like they don't really believe that they can win, and they don't really know what a good hand is even. So but you don't know how to play that, because you don't know how to read that, because it's like not necessarily following any rules. But once someone's following rules, this is like how you've heard people say, like, they had a tell. It's like every time they had a good hand, they bet so many chips, or every time they had a so-so hand, they like fold to any raise. It's like, these things are tells, and your opponent will exploit you on them when they understand the rules by which you play. And that's the key for us as imaginative, actual humans playing this thing. We can win, we will win, not all the games, but enough games to have fun with this thing, even if bots are prolific here. Yeah.
So somebody commented that it sounds like what we're talking about is a complicated paper, rock, scissors. It's starting, yeah. So the basic concept, right, is that in card games, there's like you were talking about, meta. And this is one of the things that drew me to Splinterlands, which I played competitive Hearthstone and Magic. I like traveled, did tours, did pro tour events for Magic, Grand Prix for Hearthstone. And the one thing that I love about Splinterlands is you will not solve the meta, because it's different every game you play. The rule changes between games are so significant that the meta of what wins in one rule set is not the same that wins in the next rule set. The mana cost changes, all of that affects what the best deck is. So you as the player have to be able to look at the rules and make the determination when you see it what the best deck is.
Yes.
That in game theory we call it in, right? It's the best deck. And that's regardless of your collection. That doesn't matter about your collection. That's just the rules.
Yep.
And the best deck may be Jotun, Kitty, whatever. But you have to determine what the best deck is. And then you start making the determinations from your collection. Well, what's my best deck? How's that fare against the best deck? Okay, what beats the best deck? And we call that N2. You're solving for that. You're saying, what's the answer to the best deck? Should I play that? And then there's something called N3, but it's not actually paper, rock, scissors. You're not trying to say, well, what beats the N2 deck that beats the best deck? You're trying to say, is there a deck that exists that exposes a common weakness in the other two decks they're likely to play? Like, both of those are going to be Magic decks. So I'm going to play a completely anti-Magic deck. Now, if they don't play Magic and you play a completely anti-Magic deck, you're going to lose. But if they play a Magic deck, you could win with much weaker cards. So that's kind of the game theory we talk about in card games of N2, N3, where we're saying what's the best deck, what beats the best deck, and is there a deck that exposes a weakness that both of those decks share?
Yeah.
And there's certain cards you need to own if you want to play that way. And that's something I'm working on a list of. Like, if you want to play that counter strategy, you need to be buying answer cards, not power. You need to be getting your Sun Gazers and your My Lords, right? Those are answer cards, not like both of these cards are answer cards. They're really good cards, but they like you play Mylor against a Magic team or against a range team, and he does nothing, right?
Yeah.
So he's an answer card to melee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, definitely. There is like, that's the thing about this game, the uniqueness of every battle being the mana cap, the rule set, the interplay between two rule sets, your individual deck, your opponent's individual deck. There's right there is a number of variations that make almost every single match slightly different and require a degree of creativity and innovation that is difficult to boil down to rock, paper, scissors. And I would argue that it's going to get even more complicated as we move into a place where land is live and we're getting items and spells and whatever. I forget what they're called. Items. I think I keep calling them items and spells.
Equipments.
Say that again.
Yeah, spells and equipment sound like they may add another level of complexity that makes counterplay the better choice, right? Yeah. Because then you can even respond, hey, I was wrong, or my counter didn't work. Maybe I can still recover this game with a good item or a spell. But yeah. And what do you think of? Oh, go ahead. What do you think of the new summoner replacing Kitty?
I mean, Kitty is okay. So right now we're watching a Kitty match, and I was just feeling like nostalgic for my Kitty. But yeah, man. So in my opinion, the most powerful thing about Kitty is not the True Strike, which is amazing, but it's not the tank heal. It's definitely 100% for sure the speed. And so much so that when I had a Kitty, I would play Kitty even when there was no heal available, like when the rule set excluded heals. And it, like, speed can be so powerful that you win regardless. Like, they literally can't hit you. Like, I mean, if you got phase and dodge and 10 or 11 speed, you literally will not be struck. And so it doesn't matter if you can't be healed. And so to me, Kitty is the most powerful thing about Kitty is absolutely the 2+2 speed. And from that perspective alone, Conqueror Yasik comes in with the +2 speed. And I'd say that makes Conqueror Yasik a strong, strong contender. Now, Kitty's a dragon and Yasik is a fire. And that means that, dragon is going to get at least half as many cards over, right? Like, because you're going to choose your main splinter and then you're going to get another 50% card buff from like the dragons available to you. And that would make a Kitty team almost necessarily superior to a fire alone team. But like, I really say, like, just summoner to summoner, it's a strong supplement, if not a replacement. I'm not going to say it's a replacement. Kitty is powerful and is, but even things like Scattershot is kind of an answer to Kitty too, because that you can't tank heal if I'm not even hitting your tank, and also the True Strike of Kitty, which is of course powerful and we like to have it. If your main ability is +2 speed, I'm going to argue that True Strike is not even all that helpful because a little
redundant,
right? It's a little redundant. And so those are I probably have more to say about that, but I'd love to let you step in there and like run with whatever side of that you want to go with. But I do think Kitty still has her own place, but I definitely think Yasik is going to be very strong.
Yeah, Yasik to me is he's low key just ridiculous when you really start thinking about playing him. Like you look at the Kitty, you look at some of these other, like, so much of the meta right now is tank based, right? Like you throw your tank, you throw your meat wall up front, and you put your damage behind. And yet Scattershot's not been great so far, but there seems to be enough blast options that Fire can play, right? That if they're playing blast on Scattershot with higher speed than you and ignoring your tank and having piercing behind it so that your little guys that have a couple armor like aren't getting away with anything, like they're taking full damage, man, it seems like that much Scattershot may hit a critical mass where it goes first, it blasts you, and by the time your team gets to go, you just don't have a back line. You might just have a tank sitting there waiting to die. Like that's what I'm waiting to see. It could be ridiculous. And even piercing, like if you put something like Grum up front, right? Like say you have a big mana battle, and now you've got that 11 cost guy with void armor, void, just at silver, right? Void armor, void. Now he's not got 1 speed, now he's got 3, and he's going to pierce with all of that damage to get his bloodlust going. I mean, it just seems like this guy in so many ways fits into the red team. Like he hit like all 3 of those abilities seem good. Like where like Emperor Wraith like is cool, but at silver and gold, you really don't use Thorn, like the amplify too much on the new life summoner. So
yeah, I agree. And with respect to Grum in particular, one of the things I like about Yasik is that the piercing damage, because Grum, when I like playing Grum as a solo, I will do that fairly regularly. Like just a 1 tank, my 1 card, and then just let him hopefully go Bloodlust Beast mode and win it for me. But if you run into any sort of, for instance, even there's a fire repair team that I like to have better than that. Like if you have the I'm gonna forget it right now. He's got piercing, he's a fire tank, he's a Chaos Legion.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. I had one earlier, but
Forgotten One. He's got the piercing damage, he's got big deep damage, he's got retaliate. This card with its base armor and like a little a repair monster in the back row can go 1v1 on Grum and win every time, because retaliate, because the armor, because of the no piercing on the Grum, and because with 9 hit points you can throw a repair monster in the back line from the fire team. There's a couple different ones. There's that generic one for 3 mana, and there's the fire is like 1 mana cost. Where is he? There he is, Flame Monkey with repair. So you could do Flame Monkey with the repair and that Forgotten One, and I would say that's going to win every time against Grum, except now because you're going to equip your Grum with piercing, and I think that changes things. And maybe it still goes to Forgotten One because of the retaliate, but I'm saying piercing is a really significant contribution to both. I love it. And one more thought on that. You talked about the scatter shot, you talked about the blast. That's cool. I love it. You're right. But I also love it. We've talked about Grum, but just broadly, I love it from a melee perspective too. Like just forget about the scatter shot and just go like a sneak, opportunity, tank, sneak, opportunity type build, and scattershot becomes irrelevant, but you still got that piercing, and you've got beasts like the Serpentine Spy dropping 4s, and you've got maybe you got a high level Cobalt Miner. I mean probably you guys don't because it's an older card, but I mean certainly a lot of people do. And there's melee monsters, and you can go neutral too. And you can get a crazy sneak play and and that speed is still there, and the piercing combo. I love that.
Yeah. So what I'm looking at when I look at the new summoner is I'm looking at the summoners I would want to play it against, right? And I'm just looking at reset. Like General Sloan is typically throw a tank up front, have a lot of weak range creatures in the back, right? Well, you throw up, shield, something with taunt to protect your range fighters. Well, Scatter Shot's going to destroy that. Kindle Frit, the new water summoner, Kylie, that one armor is normally pretty good to give everybody that one extra hit they can take. Well, now that's gone because you've got piercing. Kitty, you've got 10 kill and you've got 2 speed. Well, I matched your 2 speed, and now I've got Scatter Shot, so I don't care about your tank. You're looking at Grandmaster Wraith +1 and Void Armor and Amplify. Well, I've got +2 speed and I've got piercing for that armor, and I'm probably going around your tank that you're trying to armor repair or whatever, which seems to be the main strategy with that. Like so many of these summoners, you're just like, yeah, I want to play this into these good summoners that it seems, when you're talking about a card that can maybe counter Kitty and replace Jotun in some builds, that seems like a pretty powerful card I'm keeping my eye on right now.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Me too. I've said it before, and I stand by it, that I don't think we fully know, like I alluded to earlier, the meta takes time to be recognized. These new summoners, including Grandmaster Wraith, I don't know that we fully understand how they are going to fit in, because recognize that in like 2 weeks time, we're getting a whole new set of cards. That's going to dramatically change the power and effectiveness and the synergies that exist of Wraith and of Yasik, and frankly of every summoner and every monster. So there's going to be entirely new, amazing synergies that we can't possibly imagine. And there is a possibility that, in fact, I think it's a pretty distinct possibility, that 1 or 2 of these new Chaos Legion summoners will be the new Kitty or Jotun or Scarred Llama of like tomorrow. And it's not going to be known yet. So they're going to come out and they're going to be sold for 20 or 30 bucks. And it's going to take time, like I said, for people to start utilizing in that way that's so broken. And then everyone's going to talk about how broken it is. And then it's going to start to get adopted by everyone and by them, the boss, and it becomes ubiquitous. And then that's when the price starts going soaring. And that's when I think these $20 or $30 cards could be hundreds of dollars. But it's too early to know. I only am speculating that is possible, and even maybe probable for 1 or 2 of them. Now, I don't think it's going to happen for all of them. Some of them are going to be the kind of the odd men out that are just, they're not as powerful. But I already love Grandmaster Wraith, and I already like the looks of Conqueror Yasik. And if the other ones are in keeping, and how could they not be? Like, one of them is going to be Dragon, guys. Dragon is almost by definition the best summoner because of how it interplays and how you can drop it with so many different cards. And it's going to be of this ilk. Holy cow, guys. That I don't even know what it's going to be, but I'm so excited to see that Dragon summoner.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the Dragon summoner. Are you unstaking SPS and holding, or are you leaving some staked right now?
Right now, I've left 26,000 staked, and I just did a video like last night, guys. You might want to know about this. I think it's out tomorrow. Let's see, when's it out? How much? Oh, I didn't queue it up yet. I think I made this video live for just the public because I don't have time to. I've got a busy weekend, so this is kind of my Thursday night video for just the public. But I have this video queued up for tomorrow morning. How much SPS do I need? And I think everybody's wondering that, right? Like, it's like that's going to define how much rank battle rewards you're getting, and so this is on people's mind. I've begun to think through, and 26,000 is kind of where I feel that's a minimum for me. And I've got queued up. I've got like not staked 70,000 here, and I have 30,000 in Hive Engine, 35,000. And I'm actually, even though the price has been falling last 48 hours or whatever, I'm just sitting, hopefully waiting to see like a big price climb before Rift Walkers. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so that's my thought. So one of the games I was involved in, like when I was learning about crypto and getting involved, was a game that went horribly bad, but it was Crypto Blades. The game did one of those moon to like forever high, and then the development team did a ton of things that were horrible, and now it crashed down. But like when I got in, their token was like 70 cents. It was, 70 cents or something a token. And then when I took my profits, that token was $150 a token. Like it went moon high.
Wow.
And that's what I brought to Splinterlands, only because when it moons, I took some amount of profit, right? I said, I'm going to take some out of that game. And I think I'm not saying anything bad about Splinterlands. I think the team, as a software development person, what they're doing is amazing. So I think they're doing great, but I think we're going to see something here where SPS is going to be required. I think I think we're going to see a ton of it go out with the.
Hey, Isaac.
Itself. Yeah.
We're losing you a little bit. Are you pulled away from the microphone right now?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe I cut out.
That's better.
But what I was saying is, I think it's going to be something where the combination of Rift Watchers coming out, the combination of what I expect, 3 million packs doesn't seem like nearly enough. I think Rift Watchers will sell out in a week, if that, I think we're going to see a quick sellout. I think anything like that, when you see that kind of action with SPS being listed on other exchanges and stuff now, as that continues to happen, I think you may see something where SPS moons really high. And that might be a point where some people want to say, I think SPS may go higher, but maybe I should take some of this as profit and invest it in something else in the game, or I don't know. But I'm unstaking all my SPS just for the fact of, hey, what if SPS goes to $5 or something stupid like that?
Mm-hmm.
I want to be in a position when I know there's going to be a high amount of volatility to make a decision. I don't want all my SPS staked and unable to get to it if something crazy happens like that, like we've seen before with other projects. So I think we all know whether it goes high or goes low, there's going to be a huge amount of volatility around Rift Watchers, and some of the land stuff is going to start happening in the non-card market. And if there's going to be volatility, I want to be able to make a decision on what to do with it, not have it locked up at that point. So about a couple of weeks ago, I unstaked. I started unstaking everything. And then if nothing happens and FPS stays, 10, 20 cents, and I don't feel it's worth it, I'll just stake it all again. And would I lose a couple weeks of interest on it? Okay, but I at least gave myself the opportunity to make a decision to make a move, which I wouldn't have had if I didn't think ahead and at least unstake. So most likely it's nothing, and I restake it all, right? But if I do decide to do something with it, I have that option. So
yeah, that's exactly how where I'm at too. Like I'm not eager to sell it, but I do think there might be a unique opportunity right now, and so I'm just cognizant of that possibility, and I'm just kind of positioning myself in case that manifests into something real. And I love SPS. One day I will have way more than I have now. I have about 100 and I'm going to say I have 150,000 SPS across my accounts. I suspect in 2023 I will have 1 million SPS, and that's my goal. And maybe it might be 2024, but my goal will be 1 million. And to put some sense of what that, how significant that would be, you can just come over and to look at the Explorer and the top holders and the SPS Rich List. SPS is how much they have liquid. SPS staked is how much they have staked. Total SPS is what. And some of these accounts, man, are crazy. I mean, some of these are like cold storage for Splinterlands. Some of them are like, probably liquidity pools. But if you scroll down, there's like names down here, like Matt Monarch is a guy I know. Like he's got 2.7 million. And
wow.
and that's just a dude who's into Splinterlands. And Brave Tofu, that's who bought my my kitty, 2.2 million, 2.3 million SPS. Cryptomancer, oh, that must be like the actual, I thought it was Tales from the Crypt Mancer, but that's the real Cryptomancer, the developer, 2 million. So I mean, like, these are people, and they have, they have over 1 million. But hey, there's Matt with 1.5. Anyways, I want 1 million. And I think frankly, we're going to need 5,000 is like, in my mind, like a baseline for what people who are serious are going to need. And, upwards of 25,000 is probably like a nice target for people to be aiming at. If you can do more, you're not going to regret it. I really firmly believe SPS is going to, generate crazy profit for you through this game because of everything I've ever said about how it gives you these trivial rewards daily and they add up over a long time and then they appreciate. That whole thing we've said 1,000 times before, but also the SPS itself will appreciate. And we have so much reason to believe that around like the new burn mechanics that they've been instituting. You need to burn it in order to get DEC. And there's no other way to get DEC except for through liquidity pools. But 80% of the DEC disappears. And we need DEC for things like guild buildings. And so people are going to be burning SPS, burning it, guys, to create new DEC. And then we get other burns from like purchases of validator nodes, or it's not a burn, but the Rift Watchers purchases is essentially a burn because it's dropping. It's locking it up for the foreseeable future. And so there's just so many reasons to believe that the supply is actually going to keep coming in the long run, keep coming down. And in 6 years, 5 years more, we'll be done printing this stuff. And maybe they'll release more because we will agree that we want to continue a certain amount of inflation. And I say we because like as SPS holders, we will vote on that. Yes or no, do we want to do that? But we might say we want the validators to continue to be rewarded. Let's do a 2% inflation and that'll go to validators. But guys, not everybody knows this. The SPS that's in the DAO right now, in that $15 million that's in there now, and the $15 million that's going to come from Splinterlands sale of Rift Watchers, it's going to be 30 million at these prices, and it might be 100 million at future SPS prices. But that's a bank account that we can, and Aggie has hinted, could be used to fund those validators, the payments of those. So we don't even necessarily have to create more SPS in 5 years' time to pay validators. We might use that pool of money. Time will tell. But my point is, I'm super bullish, and I think 5,000 is a floor, and 25 is a nice target for most people if you're serious about playing the game. And I haven't even touched on the fact that when you have SPS when you have SPS, there's going to be there's going to be markets where you can, like, as it is, you're going to be able to delegate to me. You want to delegate my account, you think I'm a good player, you can do that, and you're going to get a payback for that delegation. But there's going to be a marketplace where we will do that, where Isaac's like, hey, Dwayne, like, I'll pay you X amount of, SPS. I just want you to delegate 10,000 to me, though, so I can, for 90 days. And that market already exists on Hive. You can, if you want more Hive, you can pay 5 Hive, permanently pay it, and somebody will lend you like 600 Hive for like 30 days or something like that. So this is coming, new ways to earn, huge ways to earn, tons of profit, plus appreciation. I'm super excited about SPS.
I think SPS is the way to go. I think, again, in saying, hey, I think you may want to be ready to make a move, it's because I think there's going to be a high degree of volatility. And if you have some SPS and you can, because what's going to happen, and we know it, is if SPS spikes up really high around it, it's going to spike really high. People are going to FOMO. And if you sell when it's very high, it'll probably drop back down at least a little bit. I don't think it's going to go straight to the moon. So I think there's some opportunity. And, maybe you get some land, or maybe you get, a validator node or something if it spikes really high, and you get to invest in the game in a different way than you've planned. I just think with volatility, if you know it's coming, be ready, because if you don't give yourself the choice, you don't have any option. That was my only advice. But yeah, I think it's I'm excited about all this stuff coming up.
Yeah, man.
I think it's
Me
going
too.
to be awesome.
It's an exciting season, and with Rift Watchers about to launch, with the SPS rewards about to come into the game, DEC being essentially totally nerfed, so there's like very, very little of it. I think that's going to mean excitement for return to peg, probably. And if so, does that mean that people get crazy about buying cards because your DEC that you're sitting on now doubles in value? Maybe that incentivizes purchasing. I think there's a lot of room for kind of excitement about this and that and 5 other things. And land is, and this year, like, we're going to see the claiming of our plots of land. Yeah, it's probably like end of the year and it won't be like playable right away, but guys, things are happening, and this is the bear market, and yet there's so much excitement right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, and that's my thing. I think you might see a hype period, right? Where if we release 3 million packs and those 3 million packs sell almost instantly in SPS, and then, you know, people who are on these other markets are saying, wait, what's going on with SPS? They might not even be plugged into the game, but they see SPS go from, you know, 7 cents to, you know, 20 cents in a day, and they're like, oh, I got to grab some of that. And, you know, then you get outside pressure. I mean, you could see a lot of crazy things with this, and then as it just keeps building, I don't know, we'll see. But
Yeah,
I'm excited.
let's take a peek at the chat and see what's up. First of all, I saw Tails is hanging out. Thanks, man. Stever's here. Good to see you, bud. Thanks for popping by, guys. And earlier I saw Hawks21. Really appreciate you guys stopping by. Cameron's blowing up the chat. Any guess on what? Cameron's asking about any guess on what the Earth Summoner is going to be. Man, I don't have any sense of what the
Earth Summoner.
You know what I mean? Like I don't personally, anyways. Like I'm so confident they're going to be amazing. But I don't have a clear idea of what that'll look like. Do you have any thoughts on that, there, Isaac?
My guess, from what we've seen so far, is that the Earth Summoner will have triage, return fire, and +2 health.
Triage, return fire.
That's my completely on the limb guess. Triage, return fire, and +2 health.
Huh.
I think you will see an anti-range Earth Summoner.
Yeah, that would be pretty strong. Hey, like a triage +2 health would really put the triage to work, and then the return fire would be nice from a counter to the scatter shot, essentially, right?
Yep, exactly. I think they want cards that interact with each other.
Yeah,
so that's just
I think that
just my guess. We'll see how wrong I am on it, but
yeah, exactly.
Now that I said it out loud.
Let's see. I'm gonna do.
I think they want something that gets them away from all that magic that they're so heavily spamming right now. I don't think you'll see anything that benefits a magic team from that summoner.
Hey, Woody just asked a cool question. He said, Woody575 said 1 million SPS would be insane to have. Dwayne, do you think they will cap the rewards you will get for the amount of the SPS you own? Example, if you have 1 million SPS, do you think they would give you 10x the rewards of somebody with 100,000 SPS? That's a great question, Woody. Thank you for that. They've actually answered this already. They said, I forget if it was Matt or Aggie, but he was like, they talked about how a long time ago, they talked about how what they'll do is you can stake SPS on someone. And the question was like, what if everybody just stakes their SPS on the best player because he's the best player? And the answer was they'll be depreciating. There'll be, what's that word? There'll be diminishing returns on those contributions. The pie is only so big, and the amount of investors in that account are going to take smaller and smaller slices of that pie. And so if that is the logic for delegations onto someone else's account, that would be the logic that would apply also to your own account, in the sense that the pie is only maximally so big. Well, no, I don't think it maximally is. That's not the right word. I think there's like, there's going to be, if you have 100,000, you're going to get great rewards. If you have 200,000, you're going to get better rewards, but I don't think double, and so on and so forth. It's going to, don't you think that'd be the way they do it, Isaac?
Yeah, think of it as shares, right? So, however much reward this person earns, there's going to be a percentage of it that's paid out to the shareholders. So like if you put, if you have 100% of the staked SPS on this person, then that combined SPS of what you staked and what they have determines how much reward they get, and then a percentage is paid out to the shareholders.
Yes.
So even if you put 1 million SPS on somebody, if it's from a bunch of different people, you're just getting such a small share that it has a diminishing returns, kind of like the liquidity pools.
Yeah.
Like the APR goes down the more people that are in it, so your payback is not as high.
So the trick is going to be to identify players that are talented, that not everybody else recognizes as talented, and maybe that's you. Like you stake on your own account, but that's just one of the ways that you can earn. I kind of said this earlier, but it's worth repeating because the question almost expresses like a lack of knowledge on this point. But I really want to hit home on this one. It's not just that you would stake. Like I would get 1 million, and it's not like I would just stake 1 million on my own account and then get, a huge amount of rewards. First of all, I think I would get a significant amount of rewards, and that'd be great. Yeah. But I actually think that wouldn't be the play. It would be like, one, determine what is a large amount at that time, in a year or two, or whenever I have 1 million, determine what is a substantial amount of SPS to have staked on my own account and stake that amount. And then the balance of what I would have, I would almost certainly be putting into certain delegations there. I'm certain there's going to be a marketplace where you'll go in and you'll pay a certain amount of SPS. Like it'll be trivial. It'll be like, I have 2 SPS and I want to borrow 100 SPS for a week. And I don't know what the formula will be. The free market will decide that stuff, but that sort of exchange already exists, and it will exist in this marketplace also. It's just not there yet because we haven't crossed that bridge, but definitely there'll be an appetite for players who don't have any SPS to quickly, through relatively little cost, acquire borrowed SPS. And that will happen through this delegation process. It'll be like, hey, if you delegate me 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, I'll give you X amount of liquid SPS that's yours to keep. And that would be where I would be looking to really see some more benefit. So yes, on my account, yes, on some certain key delegations that I might do, also on some sort of rental mechanism that I would expect to exist. I fully expect to exist. And lastly, looking at the future price appreciation, I don't even necessarily deeply care. I do care, but it's actually less important that I gain daily on this stuff, and actually far more impactful that if I buy SPS, if I get 1 million SPS and it's a penny or 5 cents or 10 cents, and it goes to $1 or $2, like in 5 or 10 years, which I fully believe is possible. That's where, holy cow, life change just happens. And so it's both, right? It's like, it's not just staking on myself though.
And I'm thinking about the tools and things we'll see developed, right? I'm waiting to see someone develop the tool that parses all the data of the players, right? And says, you know what, you could stake on these people who are the top 10 players in the game, but that's what everybody's doing. So going down through that list and trying to find, hey, here's this guy down here in gold that no one else is staking on, but he's got like a ridiculous 72% win rate, and he plays, every day, and like almost like I expect we will see analytics determined and almost rating players based on their investment potential of, if I stake on this person, how many people are staked on them? What's my possible return? Like that could be a really interesting way to get your name out there in this community. If you turn out to be this, golden nugget and finding those players who are, they're playing, they're winning. And if you stake on them, I think we'll see some interesting tools like that. Yeah. So that should kind of be a fun and something that may kind of spur the esports with Weirdbeard. That may be something I would talk with him about, is like, you could have this almost, these are the best investment players because they have the highest win rates. And then trying to find one that's not, over leveraged with other people. I mean, totally. It could be interesting.
This match that's been going on in the background here. This is just one of the best matches from the modern format. It was very like what we were talking about earlier. D-Tough Stuff, who's a guy I used to see a lot in my tournaments when I used to run tournaments all the time, and Garut is another guy who would show up in my tournaments. This is a match of Blast and Scattershot, which is going to, like, in some sense represent the new maybe something like what the new Conqueror Yasik will look like. And then over here we have Wraith, and he's got the double resurrect and tons of protect. Like he's got repair, he's got double resurrect, he's got two repairs, he's got double resurrect, he's got protect over here, he's got the taunt. This is like one style of play I see a lot of with the taunt and using the Wraith, and this is like another style that I already see playing, but I expect to see more. And it's a really I don't know if you're watching, but it's a good match, and it really came down to the wire with these resurrects.
Resurrect and Raise is just proven to be really, really good.
This girl, Adelaide Brightwing, got was already an excellent card before. Like, look, right now I was getting nervous for white, but the resurrects just keep coming. But Adelaide Brightwing is so powerful, and even before this summoner was really, really strong.
Can we pause this for a second? I just want to look at this for a second. Now, these cards don't have blast, so these wouldn't be the same cards. But I'm just imagining this, even if we don't play the blast version, right? And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, there are still three attacks that are having to go into that tank, right? Because it's got taunt, the snipe, all the magic attacks are all having to go into that taunt.
Yeah.
But with the new character, how much more powerful is that going to be when all 5 of those attacks in the back line are not hitting that tank?
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right. Like this magic with taunt or magic with scattershot is really going to be interesting. And there are magic blasters, like specifically the Elemental Phoenix, that is going to. I think the price went up since the release of the information on the new summoner. Yeah. But I don't know if it went up enough, to be honest. Like this card is an old card. Maybe if you don't play the old league, then you don't want it. But this card is an excellent card for $690. I say that's a steal for one, like assuming you have a strong deck. Like I'm not saying if you're like a silver player, but if you're a diamond player and you're a champion player, this is a card that is so good as is. And it's got blast at silver, and in conjunction with the scattershot, in conjunction with your new Conqueror Yasik, which hopefully you'll have, I would argue this right here is pretty interesting. $270 for the silver level one, or if you're playing a champ, blast, magic, scattershot, speed, so good.
And I'm actually now thinking, pull that game back up. This really has my brain going. If you still have that game, you had.
Yeah, this is it.
So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, blast would be great, but when you get a blast card, you typically have to take the penalty that your damage isn't high because it's going to be split, right? But with these higher damage cards, and we're saying scattershot, he's also relying a lot on armor here. And we're also saying the new Yasik card has piercing. So all of these cards on the back line would be piercing and not hitting that tank. A lot of these resurrects are going to be immediately wasted if they even get to go off on not resurrecting this tank, not resurrecting something that's meaningful. I think just even without blast, like if you have a blast card, I think it's obviously an auto include. But I think anything you play in the back line that's going to have range or going to have magic with this new summoner is just going to wreck any of these tank with low health plus armor guys. Yeah, I think you're going to see I think white wins this, but I think if we traded the summoner, and Yoden's so powerful, but I think you trade the summoner, I think it would be very close, if not go to because also he's structured his death order here, right? He knows which cards he wants to die in what order, and he loses that with the new card because of the scattershot. That I get some people aren't super on board, but also he'd have 2 more speed. Everything would go first. I think that with the other summoner, I think white loses this.
I think I agree.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give away a couple packs here, guys. I'm not sure if let's see. Oh yeah. So you got to drop a comment in the chat, and I'm gonna give away some packs here. I'm gonna open 200 packs, and then I'm gonna call it, guys. So maybe 30 more minutes. We can talk while we're opening packs. Isaac, I'd love to, like, you know, if you see anything cool, let's talk about it. And I see water is after fire. Yuki's asking if water is after the fire summoner. I actually think that's true. Is that true? The next legendary?
I don't know the order.
Okay.
No, they spoil it.
Oh, yeah. It's not dropping. Of course it's not. Active user. It's not picking up your guys' comments. Oh, yes, it is. Okay, Cameron, Woody, Eli. Yeah, we're getting a list of active users. I'm going to give it a minute, and I'm going to roll some night bots, and we'll give away some stuff. Mods and regulars, channel members, you guys are included. Channel members get a 3 times luck, because thank you for supporting my channel. And the rest of you guys, of course, you got a chance still too. You get some regular luck. Active timeout.
I'm really hoping for a gold of this summoner. I haven't gotten a gold of any of the legendary summoners yet. Of any of the drop cards, so I'm really hoping I get a gold of this one.
Okay, yeah, me too, man. I got a gold of I got a gold of Wraith. I'd love to see another gold of the new one. Okay,
did I ever show you the most ridiculous RNG I've ever had in this game?
No.
Was with Dr. Blight. I only got 15 pre-release packs, but I got 2 Dr. Blights.
Whoa. That's wild. That's broken.
The 1 in 50 twice in 15 packs.
Wow.
2% hit twice in 15 packs. It was pretty crazy. And I didn't even know how to claim it. I thought I didn't get any, and then I found out I had to go hit a button to claim it. Yeah. I went and hit it. And...
That's funny. Yeah, I bought a crap load of packs, guys. I bought, like, me and the boys just recently bought another 2,400 packs. That's me and my, like, chaos agents, and those are the guys that came together with me to put together $250,000 to buy packs together, and we bought them like during the early release of packs for Chaos Legion, but we've continued to put more money in, like even just last 2 weeks ago, because we want to top up so we get that next guaranteed Commander Yasik or Conqueror Yasik.
When do you think the sellout's going to happen? We're what, 350 away right now?
Shop. It's moved a good 80,000 since I last looked. I don't know, but this is where we start to get serious. Like in this window, I say, like, in fact, I know it's been picking up for the last couple of days. I suspect this is going to be a bit of a push. Like you're going to see I think we've already seen an acceleration, and I think you're going to see even more acceleration. And then with the last 15%, it'll just be like, boop, done. Because people are going to recognize that they're about to miss out on the ASIC. And if you need 50 more packs to get your for sure Conqueror ASIC, right? Like because there are guaranteed drop rates. Like if you have 575 packs, I think it is, you are guaranteed yes, it says right there, 1 guaranteed card per 575. So if you currently bought 500 packs or 510 or whatever, like that extra little bit is practically, it makes a lot of sense because you're going to get that guaranteed airdrop and you get the cards inside the packs. Like heck, for the most part, you can buy the packs for $2 because of the cost of DC. And for the most part, the cards inside of it are going to equate that value anyways.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and I'll check out the Nightbot and we'll roll one right now if there's a good number. We've got 11 users. I'm gonna roll it. Boom. Eli, I'm glad you won it, buddy. He's been here for a while, supporting the channel. Thank you, Eli. And also, Eli, I think was one of my scholars for a while. I don't think he is anymore, but was, so thank you. Maybe you still are, Eli. Apologies if you are, man. It's hard to track this stuff. So I think it's like Eli the Great or something, but drop your in-game name so I know for sure, bud. And I will give away another pack So I'm going to give Eli a minute here. I'll look at some more Chaos Legions. And then, oh, there's Legendary. Come on, level 2, level 2, level 2. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
How many packs have you purchased at this point of the Chaos Legion, Isaac?
I'm at 780 right now. I treat it kind of like I did when I started, like, any other game, like Hearthstone. I just buy packs about every week. I'll buy some packs, a couple packs here, a couple packs there, and I think that's the great thing about this game is you get to just, compared to all the other games you'd be playing, if you just buy a little bit at a time, you're actually putting it into something versus throwing it away. Like, I have so many cards in Hearthstone still, and there's nothing I can do with that. I have completely gold sets of some of the cards from stuff, and it's just all meaningless, and this game kind of fixes that.
Yeah, man.
So.
Yeah, I totally agree. This game fixes that. It's like unlocking that real world potential just opens the door for me to go a little deeper. Like today, I put it just before I went live, guys. I bought another $200 worth of credits. I regularly invest in cryptocurrency. I do all throughout, like what I call bear markets, and I think we're still probably in a retracement. There's room for some retracement here, but it's time for me to start packing the bags even more. And I put another $200 worth of credits to buy some potions, but I'm going to buy cards because there's some amazing deals. Like there continues to be in the shop, like burn rate value cards, like max level. Look at this. This rare Gargoyles Devil is selling for not that one. Look at this, $2.42, and it burns for 2400 power. Like right now the DEC is, if you were buying this card with DEC, it would cost you 4,000 DEC, and then you would burn it theoretically for 2,400. So that's not a good thing. But I'm saying this is pretty well the floor of the card price because it is literally the burn value. And so I'm interested in buying more of those.
That's crazy. I've not been looking too much. Wow, 2 legendaries in a row here.
Mm-hmm. One of them's gonna be gold foil, right, guys? Okay, I'm gonna check on Eli. There it is, Eli the Wise. I'm gonna send Eli the Wise a pack, and then if one of these legendaries is gold foil, we're gonna give away 5 packs to somebody. If one of them is gold, no, we're gonna give away 10 Chaos Engine packs to one player in the chat. If one of these legendaries is gold foil, I'm gonna send him a pack transfer.
Eli the Wise is representing their TNA Legion.
That's 3. Right. That's right.
Yeah. We still got 2. We're about to push to the next town hall, which will give us, I think, 3 more slots or something. I don't remember what it goes to from here. So guys, if you're interested in joining Time and Attention, let us know. If this is level 2, I'm giving away 10 packs. Come on, level 2, level 2, level 2, level 2. Ah. I'm going to give away 3 packs to the next roll. So get your comments in there. I only got Dragon, James, Mel, Stever, Tim Hendricks. I'm going to roll it right now. I'm going to give it like 30 seconds, and I'm rolling for 3 packs. Get your names in there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. There's only 7 eligible users, but I like it that way. I want to throw one to somebody I know. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Dragon, of course. That's awesome. Dragon's been amazing. Showing up, chatting. Love you, buddy. Appreciate you. I'm sending 3 packs of Dragon. I think it's your in-game name too, but I'm not certain, so let me know, Dragon. I can hear my dog making weird noises. I'm going to open these packs a little bit faster, guys. I'm a little bit nervous about whatever she's looking at. And then my wife's I'm going to hang out with the wifey at 8:30 after we put the kids to bed. So I really appreciate everybody popping in tonight. I'm going to give 3 to Dragon, and then I'm going to do 1 more roll. So if you're still sticking around, stick around till the end here. Oh, come on. Legendary Gold Foil, level 2, level 2. Oh, I love it though. Grandmaster Wraith, $22 card. So good. I had to get my level 2 of him. Is
Nice. Double
there's your
too.
two.
Epic gold foils can be a real price jump for your investment in your return. If you buy Chaos Legion packs and you get gold foil epics or gold foil legendaries, it can make a lot of sense if you, depending on your financial situation, to sell those for the purposes of funding like those purchases that unlock even more airdrops, right?
Yeah, and if you get legend, I don't know how many of you know this, but if you're in guilds, one of the hardest things for guilds to deal with in brawls, there are mandatory gold foil brawls. So the biggest thing there is having golden summoners. Like I know TNA3, we often leave on the table brawls that we can't fill because we don't have enough players that have golden summoners. So if you get even level 1 BCX or level 2 golden summoners, those are something, they're expensive, but like that one,
Nice.
that one's really good. They're very expensive, but that's a very useful thing to have. And with SPS, because SPS switching over to it, brawls,
It's a big deal.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So that was a good turnout. No gold foil legendaries, but some really. Oh, there was one. No, I think
you missed one.
Did I?
Yep. There's one you didn't turn over.
There it is. Yeah. Oh, legendary. Come on, gold foil. If this is gold foil, we're giving away 20 Chaos Legion packs to the last roll. Come on, gold foil. Oh.
But
okay. So let's just quickly take. I'm gonna quickly peek and see what that was worth and see more. Bulk analyze packs 200 analyze, and the valuation on that, just quickly scroll down here, those are worth $385, and they cost me, I used DEC, but I paid for that DEC at like full price. So I mean, that was closer to $800 worth of cards. But if you're using fresh money to buy DEC, those packs would cost you roughly $400. And then you're practically breaking if you're using fresh money, because DEC is so low. So that's the interesting thing with Chaos Legion packs.
I don't know if everybody knows this. Maybe I'm the only one that missed it, but you can actually buy SPS and DEC directly from Fiat, from the partners they have set up now.
Yeah.
I did not realize that till the last time I bought in, because I've just been doing like you, buying credits. And then I was like, but I really want to stock up some extra SPS, with my weekly dump a little bit in. And I found that. And so, yeah, now I'm just buying like $20, $30 of SPS every week, which adds up really quick. So
Tails won the next one. I send 5 over to Tails. I think it's Sinister. And then I'm going to do one more roll right now. Straight away for 5 more, guys. No, they better not do. This one's not going to be 5 more. This one's going to be. What have I done here? I gave away 5. I gave away. You know what? That's a lot of. I'm going to just do. I didn't give any to Dragon because he didn't give me his in-game name, but I'll chat with him later and I'll get it to him. I'm going to do just one more right now. One more for whoever. Cameron, there he is on the John too. Love it. Okay, Cameron, and his name's Viking Ginger Giant. He's in time and attention also. Okay.
That's good.
Oh, but I always do this. I'm spelling it wrong somehow. Viking. Is it 2 Ks or something? Viking Ginger Giant. I don't know. Cam, send me the message. What's the actual spelling of it? Because I'm pretty sure I'm doing it wrong. I'm gonna get Dragon later, and I'm gonna get Cam. I'll make sure I'll get you, buddy. Oh, there it is, Viking Ginger Giant. See the capital. Oh, see, that's what it is. It's only 1 G. I thought I was doing double G. That's why I keep getting it wrong. And yeah, I'm gonna take my leave here, guys. But I'm gonna say before I do that, Isaac, thanks for coming and hang out tonight.
Yeah, good talking to you.
Yeah, it was last minute. I wrote just before I went live. I was like, "Hey man, are you around?" He's like, "Yeah, let's talk."
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna try dragon. I said 3. I think the dragon. Okay, my dog's howling, guys. Thanks for all your time and attention.